Hello, everyone. My name is Zeph, and welcome to the Star Network podcast. Today, we have our special guest, Shola Akinlade, who's the CEO and co-founder of Paystack, and also the founder of Sporting Lagos. Hello, Shola. How are you today?
Hi, Zephia. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. I'm happy that you're here. It's exciting.
I'm very happy to be here.
Okay, so I'm just doing a quick intro on Paystack and Sporting Lagos, but I always feel like the guest is best suited to give a description. So can you tell us very briefly what Paystack is and Sporting Lagos?
Paystack. Hi everyone. Again, my name is Shola Akinlade, co-founder and CEO of Paystack. I have to say that. Paystack is a payments company. So we help merchants accept payments from their customers. We launched in 2016. And so far, we're live in Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Kenya, Cote d'Ivoire, and a few more markets. It's been a very interesting journey, and we can talk more about that. Sporting Lagos, on the other hand, it's a football project that I'm passionate about also, and just a way to... I'll say it's a professional football club in Nigeria, one of the best football clubs in Africa right now, and a football academy.
Awesome. Thank you. So let's get into it, right?
Yeah.
You've just broken down what Paystack is. But I mean, I feel like there's been so much growth with your company in the past couple of years. So in 2016, Paystack was the first Nigerian company to get into Y Combinator. And then in 2020, during COVID, the sensational news that Paystack was acquired by Stripe for over $200 million. I mean, phenomenal. Congratulations. It just shows there's so much growth. But I guess my question to you is, what was the operational process like in each of those phases in your career? And do you feel that it has created a shift in your mindset as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I feel like there's a word for it. It's called hustle. No, I think we've been very, very lucky. And I'm very, very grateful for the journey. But I think it just also comes from just trying to do good work. We started Paystack for a reason. Payments is broken in Africa. Africa has 17% of the world's population, but just 2% of the people making digital commerce. So there's a big gap. There's so many people. If we can figure out payments in Africa, I feel like there's a lot of value we can unlock. And so that's for us, and that for me is how we've just gone through it. We didn't need to do too much. I think, if anything, just finding the right people to join us, hiring the right team has just been the biggest thing. But ultimately, I feel like hustling and figuring things out as you go is the answer.
I mean, you actually make it sound easy. You're like, just hustle, figure it out. But to be fair, that's actually your motto, and it's where Paystack is today. So, you mentioned that payments is broken in Africa, and I particularly like that you touched on that. And so for me, what would you say that light bulb moment was for you and Ezra to figure out that you could contribute to solve the payments gaps within Nigeria? And do you feel that those gaps today are still widening? Do you feel that the gaps are so large that what you initially started off with is not actually meeting the demand? Where do you feel that things currently are?
Yeah, no, I think that's very interesting. I think for me, it was really, I was building software for banks, and I figured out how to charge a card from my computer. And to be honest, it was a party trick. I'll ask my friends, bring your card, let me charge it. And then I charge it, ping, you get debit alert. But people were like, And I showed a few friends, even Ezra, all of them were just excited. And then I showed one of my friends, and they're like, Bobs, this is a company. Why? This is not a trick. This is real. This can be real. Shout out to OO. And so I had that light bulb moment when OO was just like, guy, this is Stripe. You can build a lot of value on this. And I think once it told me, I just started thinking in that direction, to find a name, we need to talk to people. And I was telling everybody, and everybody was excited about it. And I think that was even what made it even more fun, because it was just, I would tell my lawyer, hey guys, shout out to Odum, I need to register a company. They'd be like, oh, what company is it for? I was like, oh, it's a payments company. I'm trying to figure out how to make payments better. Like, oh, I need it. We're trying to build a DIY law, And so all my early customers were people I was just talking to, and all realized they needed payments. So I'd say all that just made it clear that this was something worth building. That said, I know you're going to probably ask about Y Combinator. When Ezra and I went for Y Combinator, and Y Combinator, they bring the best founders from all over the world. They bring about 500, and they pick about 100 of them, so we were intimidated. We saw so many people. We saw someone building a bra that detects breast cancer. So you wear the bra and you install the app on your phone, and if it scans, and if there's anything, you just hear pum, pum, and there was someone that was building a shirt that never gets dirty. And so when people asked us, guys, what are you building? Like, exactly. It really, really felt like, well, sorry, I'm building something that, people built 8 years ago. But guess what? People were very excited. And it was the same question every time. So when people asked us, I think I talked about what we were building, and we said, we're just building payments. And we were both shy. In fact, when they ask us, what are you building? I'm like, Ezra, tell them. It's not from my mouth, you hear. You get that I'm not innovative. And I'll tell them, I'm building payments for Africa. I'm like, wow, Africa. How many people are in Africa? Like 1.5 billion people. Like 1.5 billion. That's gonna be massive. I'm like, and it was just the same pattern every time, And after speaking to about 5 people, all very fascinated about the size of the problem and the value that can be created if this works, we're just like, there's something here. And it was really, really cool. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that's
Shola, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, I love what you said about how the bravery to just like tell people about it. Like, we've discovered something here. Someone telling you that it's not just a party trick. Like, this is actually like a company.
Exactly.
And to your point of like going to Y Combinator and realizing that, wow, there's so many intelligent people out there. Someone is trying to build a shirt that never gets dirty.
Exactly.
And although that seems cool, it just makes you realize, well, that's not really Africa's problem. Like, our problem is payment. And whenever I hear you with payment, I start thinking about what just happened this year, the first quarter of the year, with the cash crunch during the whole Naira redesign, and the concept of, people having to like deposit cash in the banks and then, go on to online transfers. And although in a different world, that would have been extremely innovative and the way to go, I felt that was an opportunity for us to actually see how sophisticated our payment structure was. But I remember going into the supermarkets, families going into supermarkets or stores, and they couldn't do a single transfer. And it made me think about Paystack. Like, not just banks, but it made me think about Paystack is like, this is what we're trying to fix, right? This is what you're trying to fix. So,
and maybe that's the second answer to your question when you said, how do we feel after all these years? Do we think the problem has been solved? And to be honest, the problem hasn't been completely solved. We've made progress. We've made a lot of progress. Today, Paystack as a company does more than 40 times what Nigeria as a country was doing online, which is good progress. But you won't believe it that it's still hard to make payments. It's still hard. You have to go to a restaurant and say, is your POS working? I'm just like, why? I still don't have, So merchants are still not fully empowered. When you start a business in Lagos and somebody else starts a business in London, you can tell who is going to be more successful, So I'd say that we're making progress. We're very close, but it's still a long journey. And I feel like sometimes that's why I feel lucky to be working at Paystack, to be in a position where you can solve a very big problem, a problem that keeps rearing its head in different different forms. And you're making progress. You're seeing the impact. You're seeing that today, there's so many people in Nigeria that the first time they've ever used their card online is at Paystack. That is powerful, But there's still so many people that they hate using their cards online, So I feel like that is a challenge, but that is also an opportunity. The opportunity to build something that can last for years and years and change generations, I think is very powerful. And I'm just very excited to be working on this.
Amazing. I'm actually excited to see where it goes. It's like you said, like the journey is so long.
Exactly.
There's so many things to solve. And it is exciting to see the Paystack story.
Yes.
But I have to ask, it feels like in your case, it's people will just say you're an entrepreneur. I would label you as a risk taker. And so for the Star Network podcast community that's listening, one may say, how do people like you take risk? Is it just a decision or is there a method to which you actually make a decision to take risks?
Surprisingly, I don't think I take any risk. I don't even think I'm an entrepreneur. Surprisingly, I think for me, it's about my craft. I want to create stuff that should exist. And it's not a risk. It is it is, what else would I do? You think you're from this part of the world, and you know that there's just so much more that can be done here. And I just want to do my part. And I think sometimes people get scared of big problems. But what they don't realize, or what I realized very early, was that the bigger the problem, the easier it is to find people to support you. And I think that's what made Paystack very powerful for me. It was clear that this was a problem that was bigger than me. It was a problem that, who am I? What am I going to do? I don't know anything. I don't know anybody. And we can talk about this. Shout out to Zenith Bank. When I started Paystack, everybody was like, "Oh, who's your chairman? Do you know any bank MD?" I don't know anybody. Zenith Bank, our very first partner, it was an account officer. Shout out to Arinze. He reached out to us. "Oh, I like what you guys are doing. I will show you. I will talk to you." And that journey is, every step is people just saying, "Oh, wow, this is amazing. Let me connect you with this person. Let me take you to this person. Let me give you a customer. Oh, my brother works at this company. They must use Paystack." And I feel like it's not a risk. It is just, you put yourself out there. You do your own part, and the universe will take care of its own. But I just remind myself, it's about the craft. I need to do good work. I need to do excellent work. I can't do mediocre work. It has to be good. And if I pick a big problem, if I do my part, there's so many great people that want to do great work. And I think that's why I'm very thankful for the community at Paystack. It's just, I don't even feel worthy to have these people as my colleagues, because I just realized that these people can be doing other things with their lives. There's so many, but they also just come and join the journey. Let's do it together. Like, hey, let's go now. And so I think when you're doing good stuff, when you're doing it with people you love and people you enjoy working with, when people are seeing the value of your work, I don't see that as a risk, I just do. Of course, there's some part of it which is delayed gratification, right? But again, that's not risk. Like, I don't want to get all the enjoyment today. It's fine. Let me hustle. I want to hustle. If I get all the enjoyment today, it won't be fun. So I'd say a part of me, which I'm grateful for by design, is happy to put in the work and get the reward later. So that's as best as the risk I call, but that's not risk, that's life. So yeah, I don't know if I've answered that question.
That's amazing. So what I'm hearing is when you try to solve big problems that are meaningful, the universe will just align.
Exactly.
People will come and help you.
Exactly.
In your world, it's not risk, and I like that. And I actually want to ask, what makes you so driven? Because you said, so many people have fantastic ideas. There's the fear of doing it, the fear of failure, the fear of, I don't know anybody, I need to be connected, etc. But you started and you said people were asking you who's helping you, and you're like, I don't know anyone. I just have an accounts officer that believes in this. So are you saying that what sets you apart is just going for it and not overthinking the process?
Exactly.
That's pretty much it.
I say it a lot. I'm the most average software developer in Nigeria. I'm extremely average. In fact, Paystack version 1 was built on PHP. Shout out to PHP developers. But it doesn't matter. What matters is progress. Can you say you want to do something and do it? And you'll be surprised by what people call the knowledge to doing gap. So many people have ideas. So many people know what needs to be done. But do they actually do it? Can they actually follow through? And those things make a difference. And so I think for me and for us, it is just about having just step by step. Okay, this is what I want to do. Let me do my part, and let me just keep going step by step. And imagine if you just take a step every day for 7 years. That's a long journey. Yeah. Imagine the number of people that you will pass. Imagine the number of sprinters that will fall, And so I think that consistency, that, I just want to do stuff, and I don't want to do too many things. I don't want to overthink it, because you're correct. There's a lot of overthinking. And even me, to be honest, I try to overthink, but I feel like I'm also grateful for the people I have around me. Oh God, just do it, And I feel like sometimes once you get to the habit of doing stuff the first time, you realize that let's just do it and tell a good story of what you have done, And I think that's another confusing thing. People also want to do the work and hide, and you might feel like, even personally for me, I'm shy. I don't like talking about myself. I'm very humble. Like people say, it's actually ironic that I'm saying I'm humble, but well, whatever. But generally, I don't like selling. Even Paystack, I hate it. That's why I even said, let me build a product-led company. Let this product be so nice that I cannot sell it. I must not sell it. If I have to sell it, I won't build the right thing, But eventually you must sell. But I guess the way you sell matters, right? And I feel like that's where I feel lucky. I feel, let me build something good and let me be able to at least sell it to people around me. I feel like sometimes people try to sell to 1 million people, whereas you just need to sell to 5 people. You just need to sell to the people around you. And those people will help you do the next version. There's so many people today, they didn't hear about Paystack from me. Imagine how everybody heard about Paystack. They heard it from different places, So I think just don't overthink. Do something. Do it well. Find 1, 2, 3 people. Let them know how well what you've done is. If they're not excited by it, either you keep trying or you find the people that will be excited. And it's just that journey, And one day, those people will tell other people will get excited, and it will just happen. So yeah, there's no need to overthink. Just do your part and move. Yeah.
No, that's solid advice. So essentially, it's just like these habits compound. Like
Exactly.
the more that you're consistent, the more that you get people who buy into the story, and it will just become a real thing. Thank you. I think we've learned so many steps on just going for it. But you mentioned your community, Paystack employees, and how amazing they are. In my opinion, Paystack has one of the best work cultures. How are you able to sustain that? So you started with an employee base of 5, and now we're just over 200. How are you able to sustain that culture higher fit? Do you feel that as the company continues to grow, it's going to be diluted?
Yeah. Okay. I, to be honest, I don't know. I feel like we're just lucky. But I would say that 3 things. The first part is recruitment. I feel like sometimes people bring people in and expect them to change. Well, it doesn't work that way. So we just keep a very high bar. We make sure that the hard work is in bringing people in. You just have a very detailed process. You make sure that, you're not cutting corners. You're not making compromises. A lot of companies, a lot of people make compromises at recruitment, and they end up creating bigger problems. So I'd say the first part is just trying so hard to get recruitment right. I'll say that. And it's hard, but just try. The second part is values. It's talk about what you value, and you'll be surprised by how a lot of people just don't. We have things we value, but we don't talk about it. And I feel like at Paystack, we've done a good job in just saying, what? We value transparency. We value clear communication. We want you to embrace the mission. We want you to pursue growth and learning, and we want you to insist on high standards. So I would say the second part is just really, really articulating your values and holding yourself accountable to those values. In the early days, I told people at Paystack that, hold me accountable. If you think I'm not transparent enough, tell me. I will change. I'll fix it, Yeah. So having clear values and holding yourself accountable, that's number 2. And then number 3, to be honest, I would just say listening. And again, there's just a lot of listening that can happen where the entire company is a listening company. If someone is saying something, we're hearing it. If someone is gossiping about something, we're hearing it. And as you're hearing it, you're fixing it, And so if you can build a listening company, and I don't know how we did it, where people are complaining to their friends. They think they're gossiping to their friends, but their friends are also listening and thinking about, okay, this is how we can fix this. Let's do this. Let's build this together. It's not about me specifically. It's not about leadership specifically. It's just something that has just happened. You build a process that automatically fixes recruitment. you have your clear values, and you just listen.
No, I love that. I love what you said about being a listening company.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of like businesses can actually learn from that, because I think traditionally, particularly in our country, we don't really have that where people actually want to listen. There's just tradition and way of work. This is the style and everyone follows suit. But I think at Paystack is just clear that bringing individual talents and you're willing to accommodate everyone's voice, which is phenomenal in my opinion. Before we move on to other aspects of your life, just in terms of the product aspect at Paystack, Virtual Terminals just launched. Yes, that's amazing. Congratulations. Yeah. Can you tell us why that's different from like your traditional POS?
Yeah, no, thanks. And I think we were talking about it earlier, right? I feel like while Paystack has done a very good job with online payments, we felt like the offline payments, there was still a big gap, and we launched a physical terminal product last year, but it's just also, it was harder to scale, right? Because you have to pay, you have to get the device, printer, paper, all these things. And so we started working with merchants, and we started seeing that merchants just wanted to scale. You know, we had a merchant that needed 80 terminals at once. Like, where are we going to find, and more 300, And so we started figuring out that there has to be a way to receive payments without all this like expensive stuff. And I think those things are good, but there are also people that just want it quick and fast. And so we built this virtual terminal that allows you just accept payments via bank transfers. And I think it's been very powerful. We also hide this QR code there, which people found exciting, because if someone is trying to pay you with Apple Pay, for example, and your terminal doesn't support that, you can just scan the QR code. They can pay with Apple Pay. They can pay with American Express, So amazing. It's just, how can we accelerate in-person payments? There's a big gap, and can we keep it quick, keep it fast, and just scale it? So yeah, shout out to all the business owners on the podcast. Just download paystack.com/terminal. And yeah, we can support you.
And it's very quick to use.
Exactly, very fast.
Now let's move on to other aspects of your business. So, we mentioned Sporting Lagos, which is a football club that you started. The way I see it is, Shola is trying to solve payments across Africa. And now he has invested into sports with the launch of your club. Also, congratulations into the Nigerian Premier Football League. Exactly, There's so much noise about Sporting Lagos, which is amazing. But I wanted to ask you, why football? Do you feel that sports could be an essential tool for development in Africa? Exactly. Because the way that I see your mind and the way you think is, it's always towards impact. So when I see Sporting Lagos, in my mind, it's, Shola is doing this because football could be a tool for development. Is that how you see it?
I think you've said it all. I think personally for me, I just wanted to connect and engage more with Nigeria and Lagos, where I'm from. So many Lagos has given me so much. I was born in Lagos. And while I'm still like just excited about the work we're doing at Paystack, I just felt like, what, I should be doing more for Lagos, and I thought football was a good one because it was easy. I thought it was fun. It was talent, like Nigeria, we have so much talent that we haven't just maximized. And there was just an opportunity to just help. You can't invest in talent and lose. Like, it's just simple. Like, it's a simple principle. And so there's talent there. It was accessible, that's what I thought. So I just thought, and it had the potential of being a 200-year project, which was something I found very exciting. Let's just do this thing for the next 200 years, even when I'm gone, it's because if you think about others, it's like FC Barcelona, 100 years. Man United, shout out to Man United fans. I will not say anything about fans are going to be mad. yeah. No, I won't say anything about Man United fans. I'm not a Man United fan. Okay. But these clubs are over 100 years, and even in Nigeria, Enyimba, 1976. Wow. So history doesn't have to start in 1976 or 1905. History can start in 2022 in our case. And so what we wanted to do was, let's bring young people together. Let's start a football project. Let's start one that will last for so many generations. Let's back this. Let's build the best football team in Africa. Let's support the best football talent in Africa. Let's just make it work and let it just be fun. And let's do it as a group of people. Like, it's not Shola Lagos. It's not Sporting Shola. It is Sporting Lagos. And Lagos is a good city. It's a big city. So many people have passed through Lagos at different points of their lives, And I thought, So in 2 or 3 ways, I think the first part was the talents, like you said. There's a lot of opportunity that can happen if you just find the best talent and just help them do more. The second part was the culture. There's a lot of cultural influence we can have as young people. Football is something everybody does globally. Let's just see how much we can influence the culture. And the third part for me was just excellence. Like, let's demonstrate. I feel like young people like to make noise. I loved the idea of just, if you think it's easy, come and do it, right? And for me, I liked the fact that you have time, you have the arena. Do it if it's easy. If we are actually smart, then we will win. And let's see, And so for me, it just feels like a fun project that ticks a lot of boxes for me. I get to engage with my community on weekends. Lagos becomes fun because I was also, especially post-COVID, I didn't have so much to do in Lagos anymore. I'm just like, why am I in Lagos? What is happening in this city? And so just being intentional about why I want to be in Lagos. It's fun. I can enjoy Lagos. Other people can have fun. We can do this thing for 100 years, and the next generation can even take it to the next level. So it just felt like the right place to invest my time, my money, and just other things I'm doing.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I love what you said about how legacy doesn't need to start from like 1970
exactly.
something.
How come all the cathedrals are old? Why is there no new cathedral?
Correct. You're absolutely correct. And I think, that's a point you said down. Like, Sporting Lagos is now, I like that futuristic mindset that it's not just about today, but it's about the future and great-grandchildren. And like you said about having things to do, I'd never been to a football match beyond Sporting Lagos. Like, my first actual football game was Sporting Lagos. And the reason...
And you were so into it that day.
Into it, yes. I was actually really excited. And I think what surprised me was, one, just the coordination of the game day. I couldn't believe it. It was almost like what you see on TV for like, Arsenal was playing or Man U was playing. It felt like that. But on top of that was that you guys were able to then bring in like our cultural flair and aspects. Like, oh, this is a Nigerian team. And there were just all these nuances that made you feel like, yes, you're watching football, but you're actually here to support a Nigerian team. And it was amazing. And I think for me, it sort of like built my knowledge. Okay, let me try and learn a bit more about football and this whole concept about sports for development. I was speaking to someone the other day and I realized that sports can actually be used to prevent conflict. And what I found out was that in Cote d'Ivoire, I think it was in 2002 during the civil war, it was a religious civil war. It had so much tension at the time, but FIFA, the 2006 FIFA World Cup, they were doing qualifications. And so at that time, they started drafting people in Cote d'Ivoire in 2004, and it brought so much unity. So a country that was at war with themselves based on religious differences became one. Simple for the common love of the game. And so when I see Sporting Lagos and all these other teams, I'm like, wow, there's really something powerful here.
Yeah. I will come back on Star Podcast in 5 years' time. We have a deal, right?
Yes, we have a deal.
All right, cool, yeah.
We have a deal. I always like to ask my guests, is there at any point in your journey where you sort of felt like you failed? Because like you said, it's actually not easy. Like, I know you're being optimistic and sharing, which is great, but is there at any point where you felt like I've actually failed? And how are you able to just bounce back from that?
Surprisingly, I think that's like every week. It's about ups and downs, right? And you fail in things, but failure is part of the process. Literally, I was talking to someone about how nobody was born with the piano skills. The way you know how to play the piano is by playing rubbish. So it's exactly the same thing. So I would say that generally, I will do 5 things. I will fail in 3. I will succeed in 2. And then those 3, I start again. I fail in 2, succeed in 1. I'd say that's that. But more importantly, I think just having a good team around you helps you either reduce the span of the failure. So I fail personally, but someone catches me up and eventually we all win. Or, they just give me the right perspective, So I'd say generally in the journey, it's literally about failure. If we're not failing, then we're not trying hard enough. And if you ask for specific examples, I feel like for a long time, I felt like we failed, or I failed to be able to recreate Paystack outside Nigeria. I thought we had done this good thing, but I couldn't get it to Ghana. I couldn't get it to South Africa. And I tried it myself, But eventually, we're now, like I said, in all these countries. And the solution was just to allow other people to do it, Maybe I don't have to be the one to do it, So I would say that, yeah, this failures, I can keep going if we had 2 hours. but I'll say failure is part of the process. And as long as you learn or just fix things, I think you'll be good.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. You actually said you feel like that weekly.
Of course.
Yeah, I think that's going to be one shocking but encouraging for the audience. Like it's not it's up and down.
Yeah. But I think the good news is I'm just gonna say this, to be able to separate your work from yourself. My work feels a lot. I personally don't consider myself a failure. I'm a good guy. I'm happy, but the fact that I make mistakes it is what it is, right? By design, most jobs, most things you do for work requires you getting things wrong so you can get it right. And I feel like some people, when they get things wrong, they over internalize it. Customers will blast me. I will feel bad on that call. But once I drop the call, I will, I might even see something else. I see something good that has happened, and I will still solve the problem. But yeah, the work was bad. It's fine. In fact, a part of the work was bad. It is fine. It will be fixed. But my work, my craft is important to me. My craft will be excellent. I, as a person, will continue to be the best version of myself. When I make mistakes, I feel bad, but I stand up.
Thank you for actually just that level of transparency, to never hold on to mistakes, but see that as learning opportunities.
Exactly.
But shall I have to ask you, right? What are 3 productivity tools that you recommend to the community?
Yeah, so 3 productivity tools that I would recommend. I think the first one is writing things down. Someone told me that the faintest pen is sharper than the sharpest mind. Which is random, right? So I make that mistake sometimes. I just try to put things in my head, but sometimes I just write it down. Like when I feel very overwhelmed, so these are 5 things I want to do this week, and I just write it down on notes, literally. And I just see that week becomes less stressful. I have a focus. I move versus I'm just putting everything in my head and I'm just going through the week. So I'll say A, keeping things simple, writing it down. Number 2, productivity tools. I think I don't have a lot of productivity tools. Okay, actually, I have it. The second one is just minimalism. Just keep it. I don't do too much. If something is not important enough, I don't do it. I just don't try to do it. And I feel like that has really helped me a lot. I say no a lot. This is my first podcast in 2 years. Shout out to the Star Podcast. I had to be on it. You can imagine the number of podcasts I've said no to. So I just say no a lot. And I keep my life simple. I don't want too many things. I just pick the things that are important to me and I just do it. So the first one, writing things down. Number 2, just minimalism. Just keep things simple. You don't have to do everything. Just do the ones you can do. And then maybe the third one, resourcefulness, is I don't try to solve all the problems myself. I have people around me. I have smart people. I used to laugh like Ekene, Amende, shout out, I don't know if they're listening. All these guys went to Harvard. Just finding people around you to help you do stuff. Like the right people, right? Because sometimes you go and give someone the wrong person and then you don't get it done. So to keep it, I'll say again, writing things down, minimalism, keeping things simple, and resourcefulness. Just finding the best people that can help you solve that problem. So if I'm looking for something, I know the right person to help me solve it. There are things that I know people that can do it better than me. So I just figure out how to make them excited about it so they can help me do it better than I would do it, and I think it's been very helpful.
No, that's great. And yes, I agree that you do say no a lot. So the point you made about writing things down, I particularly like that. It's something I fundamentally believe in as well. There's also like a spiritual aspect to it, and I was trying to look up the exact verse in the Bible. It's in Habakkuk, and it says, when you have an idea, it's almost like write it down, let it be plain, and then run with it. And the vision is for a future time. And so when you said that,
That's
I was
in
like,
Bible?
yes, it is in the Bible, in Habakkuk. I was sharing the verse.
I have number 4. Read the Bible.
Read the Bible. Yeah, it's absolutely true. When you write down something, it becomes more real and you can manifest and you can see it. And to your second point on, you try to simplify your life. I particularly like that. And I think a lot of people can learn from that. Not many people think that in simplicity there is like answer, but you're correct. In simplicity there's answer, and there's rest and rejuvenation and innovation. And people don't
you don't have to be outside every time.
People don't realize. I feel like these are like principles, and you're literally just laying it out there. And I've seen it. I've seen you reject things. I'm like, why? Why wouldn't he want to feature here? And it's like, but no, you need to like focus. Shola, this has been great. I do have 2 more questions, right? Before we round up. So one is there any idea that you had and you didn't execute on it that you want to share with the audience?
I have so many. But in the spirit of minimalism, once the idea comes here, it just goes out. But it's something I've been looking for. And I feel like there has to be, I don't know if it's going to make money though. There has to be a way to build a better school for kids. So this is so complicated, but I want to be able to just, how Airbnb, you bring your house, you could turn it to a hotel. I want to be able to bring my house. I want to be able to rent a house and something turns it to a school for me, where I can get some of the, I'm from Ondo State, Ondo town. I can get like about 100 6-year-olds. I can get them there. And I know someone has helped me figure out like the curriculum, the videos, the everything and the testing. And these 6-year-olds, you can train them for 2 years. And at 8, they are better than 8-year-olds. In fact, they're doing American 8-year-old tests. They're doing Japanese tests. Like, can you help me create globally competitive kids in Nigeria? And all I need to bring to the table is the
venue.
Is the cement. Exactly. Yeah. I think that's something I'm hoping someone can help figure out, because I feel like that's how we scale. We have, every time I travel, every time I see 6-year-olds in Nigeria, I'm just like, God, have you seen 6-year-olds in America or in Japan or in China?
Yeah.
How are we going to compete in the next 25 years? So if someone can help us create globally competitive kids, I think it's something that I will be very, very excited.
That's an interesting idea. Because when people say education, it's usually the typical sense of trying to solve it. This is different. Your point on the 6-year-old in like the States versus the 6-year-old in Nigeria, I do feel that it might not even be like an intelligence gap.
Exactly.
It's more of a traditional mindset to how a 6-year-old should be.
Exactly.
So silencing the 6-year-old, or sit down here, don't talk too much. They can't express that
creativity. Don't play with your phone.
Don't play with your phone.
Look at
don't talk too much. Don't ask questions.
Exactly.
That child might be asking questions to learn. So that's actually very interesting. What is your favorite quote and why?
I don't do a lot of quotes. But maybe one I heard recently that I like is, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. So, and I think that's how I think too. I feel like I have superpowers. I feel like if I pick football, for example, I can try to, like, I don't know a lot about football, but I can just get into it, and in 2-3 years, I can really, really make a lot of progress. But can I do football, education? You have to pick your battles. So I'll say that's it. You can do anything you want, but you can't do everything you want.
Shola, I want to ask, with everything that you've said, you said you live a very minimal life. There's actually a show on Netflix called The Minimalist. I'm going to watch it because I feel like people who just try and like declutter their lives tend to be more productive. You've spoken about doing things that are hard and meaningful, not being afraid to do those things. And when you actually do them, you'll be able to find that the world has positioned resources around you to help you achieve that vision. You've also said that there's no such thing as beating yourself up for making a mistake. In fact, when you're doing great work, you're prone to make a mistake. That's how you know that the work is great and complex, and then you solve it and there are many iterations and you learn from it. Shola, with everything that you've said, my question to you is, do you believe in, nature versus nurture? And I like to think about this concept in that someone listening to this is like, wow, Shola Akinlade is very driven and he's saying all these different things. Is this something that is learned, or would you say that this experience in the way that you are and the way that your mind works comes from the way that you grow up? How does that actually play into your drive and your quest for impact?
Yeah, I feel like it's a bit of everything. I feel very lucky for just having some of this is how I am. I didn't have to do much. B, I think just my upbringing. Shout out to my parents. Again, they just wanted to be hardworking. I just grew up seeing my parents just working hard, trying to do good stuff. My dad I lost my dad in 2021, but
so sorry.
He used to, like, when I finish an exam, like WAEC and all these things, it will mark everything. It will score it and it will tell me my result, and I just like, why does he care so much? And why does he still remember maths? From those days, I remember getting into Y Combinator the day we did that interview, and I just called my family and I was like, guys, we're in. My life is going to change. It was random, but it was good, and I'm glad I made that call because I stopped calling too much. I didn't have enough, and they were so happy, and so I guess just to answer your questions exactly. So it feels like, and then number 3, just my experiences. And I think this is the most scary thing I say. I actually don't think I will be able to recreate Paystack. That means if you start me again and say, yeah, go and do it. I don't know.
Why is that?
And that's it, right? The experiences, the people you meet, the serendipity, the magic, I just randomly meet someone at the airport. I just randomly, it's crazy. I went for a meeting. There was someone else in that meeting. That person said this to this person, and there's just a lot of combination of that. So it feels random to me, but it's also scary to think about how much has to just fit in, how much experience. And, so I think that's why I value experiences a lot. When things happen, when I people worry that I'm not very like combative. When people do bad things to me, I just like, what am I going to do? Am I going to fight back? Because I value experiences a lot. That if someone cheats me, I'm like, yo, nicely played. How did you cheat me? Let me do the maths. I'm thinking. I'm not fighting. It's so strange. In fact, I'm recalculating. I'm like, this person is smart. Okay, this. Let me see the next person that will cheat me, And so I feel like just valuing my experiences, the different kind of experiences, has just helped, And now every time I just feel like I'm a better person than I was the last time. See me quoting Portable, but it's also random, right? It's just like, it's random. So I just bask and enjoy the randomness and just figure out how to make it work for me. And of course, yeah, correct. I've said a lot of things. I sound like this organized person, but I also have my personal challenges. I'm so disorganized.
Are you?
Yes, I don't remember stuff. I forget stuff. Sometimes I don't even feel like working. So I have my own problems, but it's life. I can't kill myself. But more importantly, I think the biggest message is just, it's a journey, and the journey has to be fun. There's no time. We're getting old, I'm very, I don't even know what is happening again. I thought I was young before, but now
You're not.
I'm still young. But yeah, so I think just learning to enjoy the journey. And it's hard. There are times are hard sometimes. In fact, there's something I do now where I'm trying to catch a flight because I'm very disorganized and I'm late for a flight and I'm running for the flight. I'm like, why am I running for this flight again? What is going to go wrong, And so just catching myself when the journey starts becoming, I'm supposed to go on vacation. Why am I running? Why am I stressing myself? If if the vacation has to wait for 2 days, like I beg, But sometimes there's a real reason to run. Last time I ran because there was a Sporting Lagos game. So if I don't run, I miss the game. I had to run. But at least it was intentional. And I think maybe that's the summary. The last thing I would say is just intentionality. It's just making sure that you are doing the things you want to do and not the things other people want you to do. So same thing about Sporting Lagos. When you ask me what we're doing, why I'm doing Sporting Lagos, it's also me being intentional about how I spend my non-work time. Otherwise, people are going to drag me in different directions. I had to be intentional about how I spend my engagement time. I'm doing Sporting Lagos. Yeah. You come and watch my game. Yeah. So I'd say just constantly learning to be intentional. Every time I catch myself saying, oh, was this intentional? Did I do this because someone dragged me to do it? Or did I do it because I thought I wanted to do it? And I catch myself, and I just try moving to intentionality.
Yeah. I don't know. No, that's amazing. And I think, like you said, it's that mind map of sort of knowing, is this something that I'm being forced to do, or is it something that I actually want to do? And what is the benefit of me doing it? Exactly. So the way that I sort of see obligations nowadays is, if I go, am I going to feel drained from this environment?
Exactly.
Am I going to come back feeling rejuvenated?
Exactly.
And based on that mind mapping, I can make a decision, yes or no, very quickly, right? That's instilling some sort of like excellence, like the spirit of excellence in you, and then building a company, and then saying that insisting on high standards is a value system. And so how these like nature principles sort of like grow up with us without us even realizing. Exactly. I think it's very beautiful to hear. Before I let you go, and this has been so fun, like you said, we can just carry on. Is there anything that you're very excited about right now? Just, it could be within your business streams. It could be outside of it, just by looking at the environment in Nigeria. It could be something that you notice in the environment globally. Is there something that you are extremely excited about that you want to share with us?
The classic answer will be Paystack. I'll give you a classic answer and what's the opposite of classic? A non-classic. I'm surprisingly extremely excited about the opportunity at Paystack, where we are as a company, to be at a place where you have licenses in multiple countries. That means countries have given you permission to fix their payments infrastructure, to empower the merchants, right? And I feel like we've figured out I hate saying that COVID is over, but almost like that COVID lull, of just like what's happening in the world, what is happening is over. And so I'm just very excited about just like, we're building great stuff, You just talked about the virtual terminal. I think just overall, just being in a place now where you have a good company, you have a good team, you have good teammates, you have licenses, you just have all your ingredients. Think of me as a cook, right? And all the ingredients are ready. It's time to cook. And I think I'm just very excited about that. So I'd say that's the classic one. The non-classic one is, very surprisingly, I'm excited about our generation. I think that for a long time, I've always just wondered why we're not creating enough stuff here. Like when people are like, they always say people are wearing like foreign stuff. The chair is foreign. Just why must every good thing be created abroad, But in the last few months, I've just seen the level of excellence that is being created within Nigeria. And almost like you can't even tell the difference if I see furniture or if I see, clothing, if I see, there's just so much good stuff being created here now. I'm just like, if we continue like this in 3-5 years time, I think we'll be unstoppable. So I just want to encourage and just shout out to everybody that is creating stuff. Man, I'm excited. I'm excited. And final shout out to Star Network Podcast. Why must all the podcasts we hear be business podcasts, be American business podcasts? If more people can just create stuff, just bring it out there. Let's create it. Let's do more. I think there's just so much that can happen. So shout out. Well done.
No, I love that. Thank you. I absolutely love that. And I believe in the same principle, like buy Nigeria. Even this top I'm wearing is actually from a Nigerian brand called Cotton Loops. Nice. And I think when I moved back, for me, I was on a mission to actually find that there is nothing I cannot find in Nigeria that was in England. That was just a principle that I fundamentally had, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a clothing brand, and you'll be surprised the most phenomenal things that young people are building in clothing, in sports, in just the ideas. It's endless. But Shola, this has been amazing.
So many stars.
Exactly. Podcast. Okay, so Shola, we ran a giveaway on the page, and now that we have you here, it'd be good to have you answer the question for our guest. The person who gets the correct answer will get to do a day in the Paystack office, and we get to ask someone in the product team question. So here's the question, right? So which of the following products are offered by Paystack? A, payment collections for businesses. B, virtual terminals. C, lending, buy now, pay later. Or D, international payments acceptance via Apple Pay.
I think it's A, B, and D, right?
Correct. Okay. So which one is the one that's not offered by Paystack?
Yet. The buy now, pay later.
Correct.
Yes. Well, we have partners that do.
Okay, good. That's confirmed. You've shared so much. I'm sure our audience will love it. Thank you for joining us. It was simply amazing. Guys, thank you for your time. Don't forget to follow us at the Star Network Podcast to also learn more about Paystack and the great work of what they're building. You've just heard about virtual terminals. Don't forget to follow Paystack on our social media handles. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.